There is no truth to rumor that Hillary Clinton is about to be nominated for a Razzie, the coveted Bad Acting Trophy. After all, could there be a worse political acting performance at the moment than the script she is trying to pull off? As America desperately seeks more jobs for a workforce that has either given up or been minimized, are stronger unions the answer or another part of the problem? James Hoffa is president of the Teamsters. We'll put the questions to him. What do you say to white people who claim they are victims of discrimination at a level as bad as what black Americans perceive? You asked the author of a controversial article about that very topic. And in telling it like it is, congratulations to Kansas State University for maybe the single worst and most idiotic knee-jerk in recorded memory. Hey, anything to forget they won the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl last season. Wow. I'm Ed Berliner. This is The Hardline for Wednesday, September 9th, 2015.
The Iranians and the world need to understand that we will act decisively if we need to. So here's my message to Iran's leaders. The United States will never allow you to acquire a nuclear weapon. As president, I will take whatever actions are necessary to protect the United States and our allies. I will not hesitate to take military action if Iran attempts to obtain a nuclear weapon.
Hillary Clinton is serious. Those Iranians better not mess with her when she's sitting in the White House. Of course, in order to get there first, she has to convince the American people she's not as big a political fraud as everyone else, and all they have to do is trust her. The warmer and cuddlier Hillary has made her debut, and in the end, she just might prove Donald Trump more correct than anybody wants to admit. Here come those often unwanted doses of reality that politicians fear the most. He is a Republican strategist and contributor at the conservative online community Ricochet, Rick Wilson. She is contributor at EpicTimes.com, author of the book Dirty Words on Clean Skin, Sexism and Sabotage, a Hillary supporter's rude awakening. Pleasure to welcome back Anita Finlay. Thank you both for joining us. And Anita, I'm going to start with you. Gee, what a shock, okay? Let's get right to Hillary Clinton. Come on, Anita. This campaign has now had more reboots than the Spider-Man movie franchise, and none of them are nearly as entertaining. You've got to be getting tired of this. Americans don't trust Hillary Clinton. Correct?
I think that's the biggest crock of crap I've ever heard in my life, Ed, and I'll tell you exactly why.
Please.
There has been no reboot in her campaign. She has been running the same campaign from the beginning. She started by listening to voters and rolling out her policy proposals. It's the media that is running their own campaign to discredit her on a daily basis.
But even her own people say it, though,
Anita.
Anita.
Get tired of it.
Even her own people say that they are starting the campaign over once, twice, three times, and now even they have said. Matter of fact, they showed her a video from a New Hampshire focus group where the people there said they wanted her to address the topic of the emails. They wanted her to be warmer and more cuddly, more fuzzy. They've even said this out loud, Anita. How can you say that?
I can say that because anybody can cherry pick this focus group. I mean, Frum and all these people do this nonsense all the time. The proof is going to be when people have a debate and when people have a primary. And here's my answer to Republicans who are reveling in their Hillary hate. Bashing Hillary is not a campaign platform. And if indeed that she is sinking as fast as they pretend, good for them. I look forward to hearing them coming up with something coherent that the American people can get behind, because Hillary Clinton is the least of their problems right now. They have problems with Black American outreach, with Latino outreach, with outreach to women. They were supposed to have done that in their postmortem after the 2012 campaign. And as you know, they've failed miserably with Donald Trump, your current frontrunner, making comments like, go back to Univision and the Mexicans we have coming in here are rapists. So forgive me, but they have problems with their own image management. Let's not worry so much about Hillary Clinton, who I think is doing just fine out there.
Okay, now, first of all, let's just say when you say your current frontrunner, she is not mine. I understand whom you're speaking to.
I don't mean
to the
you
certain
personally,
politicians.
but
I understand. I get it. All right, Rick, to you now. Anita makes some good points here. Bashing Hillary is not a campaign platform. You have to say that. You've got to come out and tell the American people what you're actually going to do when you're president. But isn't it still pretty easy and necessary to go after somebody who was the anointed one, if you will, just 6 months ago?
Look, we are seeing the same pattern we saw in 2008 playing itself out all over again. Hillary is the inevitable frontrunner until the very moment she isn't the inevitable frontrunner. Hillary goes through this incredibly staged, processed, carefully crafted campaign that's got more steps in it than a barn dance, and she believes that it's all going to work perfectly for her. And when things start to hit the rails, the problems ramify and they expand. And she is right now flailing. This isn't something we've made up. These are numbers that are consistent across every possible survey. Her favorability is down dramatically. Her honest and trustworthiness is down dramatically. The percentage of people who think she's lying about the emails is up dramatically. This is a woman whose campaign is in crisis, whose personal image is wrapped up in this incredibly contrived and controlled desire to make sure that nothing on the outside is ever, that you never get to the truth about Hillary at any point at any time. And the American people have detected that. They figured it out. And you know what? Republicans, when they get to their nominee, you're going to have somebody in this field. I don't think it's going to be Trump in the end. You're going to have somebody in this field who has a serious set of considered, robust policy options for America after 8 disastrous years of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. And you're not going to have the Republican nominee, I'm pretty sure, with a potential federal indictment hanging over their head, because every day it gets deeper. Every day it gets deeper for Hillary Clinton. Every day the water gets a little closer to her nose, because this is a woman who has clearly engaged in a violation of federal law. She deliberately used a private email server which was compromised and which was hackable and which put classified material at risk. It doesn't matter what they spin. It doesn't matter what they make up in their heads about when classification origination happens. There are now repeated things that the FBI and the intelligence community, IGs have said are going to hold her.
We've said all that. Rick, I'm going to stop you. Let's just hang in there again. Anita, hang on just a sec, because Rick again makes good points. Look, the media didn't make up all these numbers. The media is not up there making up the polls, the ones that say that she is untrustworthy. Matter of fact, a recent poll at Quinnipiac University asked voters to describe Hillary in one word, the most common word, liar, followed by dishonest and untrustworthy. Anita, the media is not making this up. Nobody is. This is the general public speaking.
Oh, Ed, for goodness sakes. First of all, the emails were not a violation of federal law. That is an out-and-out falsehood. Federal prosecutors, someone just wrote an article in The Hill today. They find her bashing her all the day that it did not break federal law. But let's leave that aside for the moment. If you want to bash her and say she's untrustworthy and so forth, I suggest that people look up her record for 40-plus years since she started with the Children's Defense Fund, all the amazing work she did for education in Arkansas.
Yeah, but that's so easy to fall back on, though, Anita.
No.
That's easy to fall back on when you have current people right now in the current public right now saying that she is not trustworthy. She's dishonest. Come on, let's deal with the now, Anita.
Why is that happening? Let's think about this, Ed. I think that you're a lovely guy, but if the media, who is corporate run, there are 6 media conglomerates that own all the media out here. If she were the tool of corporations, everyone pretends those media conglomerates would not be working so hard to defeat her. That's what I have to tell the American people. So you really need to look suspiciously at the people who are beating them up. Lovely guy as you are, Ed, if you had the mainstream media beating up on you every single day, I guarantee you your favorability numbers would fall too. They are not ready for anybody. What do you think is going to happen?
Gotcha. Hang on a sec, Rick. Let me get you in here to answer. I only got 2 minutes left. I want to get in as much as we possibly can here. Anita's blaming and she's taken on the media here as being part of the problem, if I'm hearing correctly.
Somehow, Ed, for 40 years, every time Hillary Clinton gets in trouble, it's that vast right-wing conspiracy. It could never possibly be any of the action she takes in her roles in the Senate, as Secretary of State, as First Lady of Arkansas. None of these things ever are to be blamed on her. It's always this dark external conspiracy. I mean, she's the most unfortunate and put upon person in the history of American politics.
Okay, let me get this in here. Let me get this in here. I've only got about a minute and a half left, and I do want to get this in here. Hold on one sec. Anita, I want you to answer this.
I never said right wing.
Hang on. Okay, Hillary Clinton says, Anita, Hillary Clinton just came on television Tuesday night. She said she is sorry for using a private email account on ABC News. Here's what she said.
Did you make a mistake?
I did. As I said, it was allowed, and there was no hiding it. It was totally above board. Everybody in the government I communicated with, and that was a lot of people, knew I was using a personal email. But I'm sorry that it has raised all of these questions. I do take responsibility for having made what is clearly not the best decision.
All right, Anita, I only got 15 seconds left. Look, a lot of people saying that's not even sincere at all. Come on, that's not really an apology. And why couldn't she have said that at the very first minute, I'm sorry?
I think it's very interesting that you don't ask any of the males to apologize for their private email, like Colin Powell, like
But
Jeb
they weren't
Bush,
Secretary
like
of
Scott
State
Walker.
at the time, and they weren't the ones under investigation.
Romney was running for president. He wiped his servers when he left governorship of Massachusetts.
Okay.
So there's a painful double standard going on here. That much we have to admit.
15 seconds to you, Rick. Final word.
Listen, Anita can blame the guys and blame everybody else on this, but this all comes down to the fact that Hillary Clinton had a private email server set up to satisfy her own desire to keep the government or the people from ever knowing what she was doing there, and had classified information on it illegally. Thanks,
we got to call an end to that. Agree to disagree. Rick Wilson, thank you so much. Anita, always a pleasure. I know it's always fun to talk, and we're going to do it again real soon. I thank you both. All right, here it comes now to you. Who is your choice for the GOP 2016 nominee? We're going to keep asking. You're going to keep telling us. Newsmaxpolls.com. Tell us. We'll talk about it. Stay with us. The fastest 60 minutes in news. The Hardline continues.